So I'm here out at Happy Lucky's in Old Town, and I'm joined here with George. And George, what are we doing today?
Today, Adam, we're going to taste 5 different teas showing 5 different brewing methods.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah, let's jump into the first one.
So the first one we're going to do is Madame Grey. It's our signature tea, and when you brew tea, we talk about water, tea, and time.
Okay.
So there's always going to be a water temperature, the quantity of tea, and how much time.
Okay.
Very simple. And for this case, we also want to know how big our pot is, because that tells us how much tea to have. So water, we're going to use boiling water on Madame Grey. Tea is going to be 1 teaspoon per 8 ounces.
Okay.
So 20-ounce teapot is, quick math.
2.5?
Exactly.
Cool.
Exactly, all right. So 1, and I got my little handy-dandy little teaspoon measure, and we'll get that brewing here. So I've got some near boiling water that I got going.
All right.
You always want to start your timer. This is a 3-minute steep time. When the water hits the tea, you start the timer.
Okay.
Bingo. Oops.
Oh, that's okay.
It's okay. I was pouring from a height.
All right. And so now we're in this 3-minute.
We're in the 3-minute steep time, exactly. And if you have a lid, you want to put the lid on. It kind of keeps all of the aromatics with the tea while it's brewing.
Perfect.
We are in our last 15 seconds. And so I just want to show you this tea.
Yeah.
So you can see the rose petals. Oh, there's some blue cornflowers. I left that out. And so you can smell that.
It smells really good.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
I know. It's wonderful. And there's our
and there
tea
we go.
timer. So when you're brewing tea at home, we talked about water, tea, and time. This is kind of a traditional way of brewing. We're going to remove the basket after 3 minutes. And it's hot, but I've trained my fingers.
And so I guess one thing we didn't really go over, what is this specific brewing method called?
I call this traditional. I mean, it kind of comes from the English, the way they would brew tea in all across Europe. Not all across Europe. Many sections of Europe would brew tea in a teapot. We're doing a kind of American style, as opposed to putting all the leaves in and pouring through a strainer like the British might do.
Gotcha.
This tea will hold up to a little milk and sweetener. I prefer it just as it is.
Well, should we try it?
We probably should.
All right.
And you can see I always tend to make a little bit of a mess, but that's just me.
Part of the
This is going to
fun.
be hot because we use boiling water. So there you go. Enjoy.
Thank you.
I suggest blowing on it.
Cheers.
It's really hot.
That is really hot.
Oh, but besides the heat, you're familiar with Earl Grey, so you know what that tastes like.
Yeah.
And then we have the vanilla, so I get the vanilla
I'm
notes.
really catching the vanilla.
And the linger will be in the rose petals.
Okay.
And the orange peel makes it a little brighter.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so those are all things that you think about when you make your actual blend.
I think about it, and Andy, our master blender, he thinks about that. It may sound like it's just a bunch of flavors thrown together, but there's a real art to it. Thinking about how the flavors will come together, complement each other. Do they cancel each other? Do they enhance each other? What is the first flavor you get? What is the linger? And we think about all that stuff when we make a blend. It's pretty magical when it comes together.
Yeah,
So it's
that's
fun.
awesome.
It's
Well,
fun.
should we move on to our next one?
Sure. We're going to do Gong Fu style.
Okay.
So Gong Fu comes from China. So we have some interesting equipment, teaware that we're going to do. Same principles we're going to apply, water, tea, and time, but it's done very differently.
Okay.
And there's a nice section between the two that you see that, yes, there is a teapot. Cups are a little smaller. What is this glass thing? George is going to explain that in a little bit.
Cool.
So one of the things when you're brewing is we're going to want to preheat the teapot.
Okay.
So I'm just going to preheat the teapot. In Gong Fu style, they'll use a Yixing teapot.
So what purpose does this preheating serve?
Well, when the water, once we steep it, when the water goes into a teapot, no matter what we use, it drops 10 degrees like that. Gong Fu. Gong Fu it sounds kind of similar to Kung Fu, but it's considered making tea with efforts.
Okay.
So, and just like Kung Fu, where you are practicing with efforts for a martial art. So it kind of stems from that.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to decant this because it's super hot, but we're not going to brew with that. So now we're going to go with this one over here, our Iron Goddess of Mercy. It's an oolong style, and I'll start the brewing process because it's going to be pretty quick, and then
Gotcha.
we'll look at that. But you can jump in if you want.
Yeah.
I'll have you change that to 1 minute. So
Okay.
now I'm going to put. You're going, George. Look how small that teapot is, and you're going to put 2.5 teaspoons in. Yes, we are, because Gong Fu style is short steeps over and over and over. So you're going to use the same leaves more than once.
Gotcha.
So oolong style allows for that, as well as pu'er, some of the Chinese green teas, some of the white teas as well.
Gotcha.
So it makes your more expensive loose leaf teas, or what appear to be more expensive, much more economical because you can use those leaves over and over and over.
Gotcha.
Okay, so I'm going to put that back over there. And so we're going to brew.
Cool.
So you got your timer?
Yep, ready.
Okay, there you go. Hit it.
All right, so 1 minute.
Mm-hmm.
Now our tea
So
is done.
now our tea is ready. So 1.5 steep time. And and we're going to pour it. I'm just pouring it through a strainer. There is a strainer built into the teapot, which works most of the time, but sometimes a little bit comes out, but I like pouring it through a strainer.
Okay.
So now we're going to enjoy it. You look, it's got a nice golden color, so very different than our black teas over here. And so nice golden color. Careful, it might be hot, but not as hot as the other one.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh yeah, this one's a lot more subtle.
Very subtle, very subtle. And so one of the things when you're tasting is you want to slurp.
Okay.
Okay. We didn't talk about that because it was way too hot.
Yeah.
But we'll want to slurp. So
Okay.
I'll demonstrate. So.
Okay.
So you can slurp from the cup, or you can slurp like this. So that does two things. One is, if it's hot, it spreads all the bubbles, and it adds a little aeration, so it cools it down. The other is it's sending little droplets of the tea all over your mouth, so your mouth has the full sensation.
Well, so that was delicious. I like that
Good.
one a lot.
Mm-hmm.
What is our third method?
We're going to make some matcha.
All right.
So we're going to go from basically kind of an American English style, China. Now we're going to go to Japan.
Gotcha.
Okay. So matcha is a powdered Japanese green tea. So matcha is powdered. So after they do all that with the Japanese tea leaves, then they grind it into this really fine powder.
Yeah.
And it gets everywhere. It's called the mother of all green teas. And what makes matcha super healthy is you're actually going to consume the leaves. And you'll see that here when we go to make it. We're going to use this scoop, bamboo scoop, and we're going to take 2 scoops. And you want to get about that much.
Okay.
And we're going to do 2 of those. And I'm going to put it through this sifter because when we whisk it, we want it to whisk really nicely and have a nice little area of foam on top.
Does that make it really smooth?
Yeah. Because you don't want clumps.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want clumps. So I got 2 scoops, and I'm just going to send it through the strainer. And you can see it's almost like sifting flour. But when we go to whisk it, it means we're not going to get any clumps.
Would you say this is one of the more involved processes in making tea?
It's part of the ritual.
Okay.
I mean, one of the things about brewing tea at home, and that's a good question, we haven't really talked about that, is what is the ritual? And you know, everyone's familiar with their ritual with coffee, but there's a lot of ritual with tea. There's the heating the water, scooping, stirring, waiting, you know, all that fun kind of good stuff. And so there's ritual there. So, I mean, at home, doing this quickly, you know, I can do it pretty quick.
Okay.
As fast as I could make a cup of coffee.
Gotcha.
But I don't drink much coffee, so it takes me a while to make coffee. When we go to make matcha, matcha in the old days in Japan was medicinal.
Okay.
So we're gonna, it's 3.5 ounces, which is 3.5 sips.
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 Okay.
You don't have to do it in 3.5 sips, but that was traditionally how it was done.
Okay.
So I've got my thing here, and I got 160 degree water. So I'm gonna pour in 3.5 ounces.
Oh, okay. So that's how you determine a sip.
Yes, because 3.5 ounces is 3.5 sips.
Makes sense.
Okay, so I'm gonna pour it in here.
And now we're going.
We're making it. So the time on this one is how quickly can you do it. So what you want to do is you want to make M's or W's.
Okay.
Okay? And so I'm going to let you do this.
Sure.
So there's two ways of doing it. One is holding it how I did on the bottom
Okay.
and whisking. Others like to put it on the table and do it. It's really up to you. I tend to hold it and faster. Back
Okay.
and forth.
But you're trying to make M's
Trying
and
to-
W's.
M's and W's kind of as opposed to circles.
I see. Okay.
Okay. So M's and W's. And you can see you're starting to get little bubbles in
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Okay. So
Okay.
you want it to be more in the wrist. So let me show
More
you
in the
real
wrist,
quick.
yeah.
More in the wrist. So like that.
Oh,
so I'm
I
not
see.
moving my arm. It's like back and forth. So if I took this out, I'm going like that. Oop, I just
Gotcha.
made a mess. Like that. So, okay. So
All right.
There you go. So now you try. Oh, look at that.
That better?
Yeah, you're practically a leaster.
All right. I'll
Okay.
take it.
And then one of the things I do, like why I like holding it in my hand, is I don't want clumps. So what I would do is I would start to spin it in my hand,
Oh, spin this.
and looking on the edges, so I tilt a little bit. I just want to make sure that I'm don't have any clumps.
Gotcha. Not seeing
Okay,
too many.
cool. All right. So
Is
when
that
you
about-
think it's ready,
is that
I'm
about it,
gonna,
you
I'm gonna
think?
give you a little more foam on top,
Okay.
just because I want you to have the full experience.
Sounds great.
Okay. So you can see I've got some nice bubbles on there.
yeah.
Okay. And enjoy.
Okay. Wow. It's very, I can tell that the leaves are in it. Yeah.
Now, how's that mouth feel compared to the Tiquan Yin?
It feels like, not dusty, but dusty, if that
Dusty.
makes sense. Like my
Okay.
mouth, it has a coating that stays.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Okay. Is it tasting sweet or bitter?
more on the bitter side for
More
sure.
on the bitter side. So, have some more. So what we have, this is an organic ceremonial grade.
Okay.
So there's various grades of matcha. So, and the way you can tell is how green the matcha is. The greener the matcha, the more fresh it is,
Gotcha.
and the higher the grade, which is a little different than the matcha used in a matcha latte. Matcha lattes have sugar in it. So what we're doing there is that we have matcha, which is considered a culinary grade, still organic, but it's a culinary grade. And then we put in just a couple ounces, we whisk it, and then we steam milk, and we pour milk in
Gotcha.
over it just like you would a coffee.
Okay.
So that's kind of the difference there. Students are probably familiar with matcha. You're drinking the leaves. It's got all the health benefits, the antioxidants, the L-theanine, caffeine, and it's the mother of all green teas.
Awesome. What is our next?
Our next
What is our
one?
fourth tea?
Fourth tea. Fourth tea is going to be like, George, I'm sitting at home, I want tea, and I don't have all this fancy stuff. And I'm like, you got a favorite mug? And you got a tea strainer. Very simple. So we're going to do Iroh's Jasmine Dragon.
Okay.
You probably know who Iroh is.
I
don't
do
you?
know Iroh.
So Uncle Iroh had a tea shop, and so this was a blend that we created, and it's got some jasmine green tea in it. It also has some magnolia oolong. It also has lychee black tea and some jasmine blossoms as well.
Cool.
So this is a 1.5 minute steep time, and this temperature will work. So, and let it rip.
All right.
So this is a 20-ounce mug. So I use 2.5 teaspoons.
Cool.
Okay. So water, tea, and thyme, and our temperature was about 180.
Okay. Is that the hottest one we've done so far?
No, the near boiling for the black tea.
Ah. Okay.
So this has jasmine green tea, oolong, and does have some black tea in it. So it's an interesting blend because blending those three types, an oolong, a black, and a green, all have different brewing levels, temperatures, really, and different durations. So to come up with a tea that has all of those and still has one brewing temperature and one time, it worked. I mean, one of the things to do with loose leaf tea is you want to allow those leaves to open and circulate. And you
Gotcha.
can see here on our Madame Gray, I mean, we didn't have that much tea, and look how much it more than doubled
Yeah.
in size. And So that way it releases all its flavor. If you look inside of here, you can see how much those leaves have unfurled. And, oh, there we go.
There we go.
So again, here you saw how much I put in.
Yeah, now it's filling up half the thing.
Half the thing. So you want to allow those leaves. If you're going to invest in good tea, you want to enjoy good tea with friends or whatever, you know, you want to have a good way of brewing it. So this folding tea strainer is awesome.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And would you consider that the easiest one?
I got people tell me that Gong Fu is the easiest.
Okay.
The people that love matcha and making matcha in the morning, they whisk every morning at home, and it's easy. The answer is, what tea are you drinking, and how do you want to do it?
Gotcha.
I mean, matcha is matcha. All the oolongs and pu'ers, white tea, green tea, you could do all that. You could also brew your oolong in a traditional teapot.
Gotcha.
Okay. It's the least amount of accessories, let's put it that way.
Okay.
Ease, still water, tea, and time. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll let you enjoy that.
Okay. Yeah. It's a nice big mug.
It's a nice big mug. So when we do lattes and things like that, and chai lattes, we serve them all in a big mug.
All right.
Every once in a while, we have a customer comes in that would rather have it in a mug than sharing a teapot.
Yeah.
So we didn't look at the leaves here, but we can.
Yeah.
Should we look at the leaves, or you want to taste first?
Let's give it a taste.
Taste. Okay.
This one's tasting a lot more floral. I think I get the jasmine, but I also don't know what that tastes like necessarily. But I'm getting more floral for sure.
The magnolia isn't as floral as the jasmine, and we saw a lot of jasmine tea. People love jasmine. The other is the lychee. You know what lychee is?
Yeah.
So lychee's a fruit from Asia.
Gotcha.
But when you drink it, it almost tastes more like a flower, but it's a fruit.
Interesting.
And if you ever travel to Asia and you go to a market, get some fresh lychee. It's delicious.
Okay.
But you can see here in the leaf, it's really hard to differentiate what is the oolong, what's the black tea, and what's the jasmine green tea. So that's a great way to brew it. If, you know, in one sense, you don't have a lot of money, one thing to buy that.
Okay.
And then you're good to go.
Cool.
So we'll just put that over here.
And then we're on to our last.
We're on to our last one.
All right. So we've done 4. We got 1 left. What are we finishing the night out with?
We're gonna make some iced tea.
All right.
All right. So let's gather all our materials.
Sure.
So we're gonna talk about doing a flash chill method.
Okay.
And so the flash chill method is we're gonna brew tea at a concentrate. And then we're gonna add ice, we're gonna shake it down in the martini shaker, and when we pour it into the glass, it'll be the right concentrate or the right flavor or strength, but it'll be cold, fast. Because nobody wants to wait on brewing it and put it in the refrigerator. So we're gonna grab that one on the end,
All right.
which we're gonna do our Visit Fort Collins specialty.
Okay.
And so your experience now, so we're gonna make 20 ounces. So how many teaspoons is that?
2.5.
There you go.
All right.
Right, water, tea, and time, so 2.5.
Cool. So what's in this tea?
So this tea is complex and simple at the same time because it's got 9 different things in it.
Okay.
I give it a little bit more. That
little more?
That little half scoop was a little wimpy there.
There
you go. That's perfect.
Okay.
So let's get this brewing because it's got a 7-minute steep time.
Okay.
And then we will talk about it. So we're going to make a 20-ounce serving. So to make a concentrate on flash chill, we're going to use 10 ounces of water.
Okay.
So now if you think about it, it's double strength. Okay. So that's what we're going to do. Now, since we've done this, or I've done this a million times, you can hit the timer. I know that just below this writing here in this Ingenuity is 10 ounces.
Perfect.
So I know that that's going to be about where it is. I'm going to give it just a splash more.
All right.
Okay.
So now we just wait?
So now we just wait. And we can prepare our ice.
Okay.
So we're going to fill up the ice, and you can just pour it in, and we want to go to about right here.
All right.
Okay. Now, when I was at home opening Happy Lucky's Teahouse in 2009, I made a lot of different iced teas trying to figure out how to do this.
Is that about right?
Yeah, maybe one more cube if you
One
can get
more cube. Why not? It's kind of a big cube. But
Okay, well, no, we don't want to do that.
No, that's not it.
Yeah. Well, since you're drinking it, so you can use your fingers.
Cool.
Okay, cool. So now we want to put a little bit of ice, maybe about right that much.
Okay.
Okay. Perfect. That'll
great.
be fine.
So I guess my big question for you, since we're doing all this, kind of what is tea to you?
Tea is about ritual. It's either my self-ritual, because I'm making tea, but tea is also about community and taking tea with friends. So that part of that taking tea with friends is also ritual. And I want to share that tea, and it's so crazy with our phones and the pinging and social media and all that stuff. And to me, tea, when you're in community, it's about putting that phone away and talking, communicating with each other. And in one sense, what we've built here at Happy Lucky's is that place to come and hang out and to put that phone away and to connect. And tea is kind of the medium, but you can also go crazy geeky on it in a fun way. And tea for me is also a lifelong pursuit, because I'll never get to taste them all and experience them all, and seasonality plays a role in it, and they grow tea all over China and all other parts of, Japan, Taiwan, India, Korea, all these tea growing regions, and all these subtle differences, and it's fun. And then you start getting into the herbal blends, which are behind us over here, and why are you making this blend? What herb are you having? Is it for a health benefit? So there's all these things, and what's the healthiest one for you? It's the one you're going to drink every day, or you pick a specific time that you're going to drink it. But I don't know, that's what tea is to me. So as I present all this, what does it mean to you?
I don't know. I think it's a whole world opening up in front of me right now.
It is.
And right on time.
Look at that, right on time.
We can now.
So we're going to pick this up. This is a cool little thing because there's a little ratchet under here.
Oh,
so
yeah.
if I push this, so you're going to take this and you're going to put it on top of here, and the water's the liquor. The brewed tea is called the liquor.
And it'll
you
just
can
go.
see it's just going down, which is really pretty cool and really simple.
Wow.
Okay? And as soon as you pick it up, the little ball catches it, and we shouldn't have any drips. So you just put it right there. So now you can see the ice is already starting to melt.
Yeah.
So you're going to put that on there. Boom. Now you get to shake. Have you ever
right.
bartender?
No, but we'll.
There you go. Yeah. With vigor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put it on this side and this side and this side.
It's a show.
Okay. So is your hand getting cold?
A little bit.
Little bit. Okay. And you can
Keep going?
You can hear the ice melting. Okay. That's probably good.
All right.
That's probably good.
And then now do we just pour it in the glass?
Yeah. Just pull it off.
Oh.
There you go. If we did it right, we'll get a full glass.
It's got a great color.
Mm-hmm. So when we did this one, Visit Fort Collins, which is our tourist bureau, approached us to make a tea for them, for their visitor center, so they could serve it to visitors and at their group meetings and all that stuff. And they specifically said they wanted it to be herbal, they wanted it to ice well, and it was good for kids and adults. I mean, one of the things about enjoyments of tea is like, oh, here's what the leaves look like. Oh, here's what it smells like. Is that what it tastes like when you drink it?
Yeah. All right.
All right, enjoy, my man.
It's refreshing to have something cold after all those hot
All
teas.
that hot teas, yep. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. It's got some good flavor to it, but it's subtle too.
Yeah,
I like it.
It is.
I think out of all of these teas, I think my favorite one was the Gong Fu. I really liked.
Wow, I was not expecting
Yeah.
that.
I liked how tame it was, and the method of making it seemed just very ritualistic, more so than some of the other ones. Mm-hmm. So I gotta say, my favorite one was the Gong Fu.
So if I come to your dorm room sometime, you're gonna have a whole Gong Fu set up?
Yep, exactly.
Start collecting your oolongs and pu'ers, and all right, we got a tea geek in the making.
All right. Well, thank you so much for bringing me out to Happy Lucky's. It was a real pleasure to try all these different teas. And yeah, thank you.
All right. Well, it's great to have you. And if I can say, if you're out there in the community and you see this, and we source tea to CSU and CSU students to Sweet Sensations, Sweet Temptations, Bean Counter, and Morgan's Grind. So if you go in there and get tea or matcha, that is stuff that's been sourced locally from Happy Lucky's Teahouse. If you come in, any leafster will help you through the Great Wall of Tea to find the perfect tea for you.
Perfect. Thank you again.
Oh, thanks, Adam.